Buffalo Fanatics, what's going on? I'm going to wait for a few folks to get in here. I came on about a minute early, so we'll wait for some folks to get in here. And we'll jump right into it. Yo, the ref, what's good, man? What's going on, brother? Monday night. Disc jockey, what's going on, Brendan? What's going on? What is going on? We'll let a couple more folks get in here, and we're going to get right into it. I just wanted to come on. Gilbert, donation. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. The ref, Ed Oliver, is going to dominate. Yeah, we're going to get into that in just a second. I just kind of wanted to come on because you guys aren't used to seeing me live. You guys are probably used to seeing all my videos that I kick out on a weekly basis. I just want to come on here. If you guys are on our Facebook page, you probably know who I am. I'm the operator for Buffalo Fanatics Facebook. I just wanted to come on YouTube, get my feet wet with the live session, and just do a Q&A, unscripted, like it says in the title, uncensored. I'm not going to pull any punches. There's not going to be anything's going to be held back. So I'm just going to wait for some of you guys to get in here, and we're just going to get into it. I'm going to go off of all your comments. I'm going to navigate through every comment, any questions, anything you guys want to talk about. But before I begin, if you guys haven't become a sponsored member, the cool thing about that is that you guys get all your comments get highlighted when we do live videos like myself or when Rico does a live video. We can see those first and foremost. Those pop right out. And also you guys get all other cool perks. The link's in the description. So if you guys have any questions about that, just check that out. Also, if you guys are gamers, like if you're big into gaming, I know Fortnite's huge right now. Madden's going to be popping off here. Comes out in August. So they just released all the rookie ratings, which is kind of cool because Ed Oliver got a 79 overall, which was number 2, even higher than Nick Bosa, which is kind of cool to see. But if you guys are into gaming, check out our Twitch channel. You can play online live stream with Big Mike. He's the Twitch operator. Link, like I said, is in the description below. So let's just get into it, man. It's Monday night. You know, we got about a month until we start getting into back into training camp and preseason gets underway. So let's take a look. Kathy Barnaby, what's going on? How are you? Angel Torres, what's going on? Gilbert Appoint says, I have a question concerning the team moving. I really don't foresee that happening. I'm not local in Buffalo anymore, but I still have a bunch of ties to the Buffalo area. My dad and my mom still live there, so I still do have ties there. I don't think that Pegula, after buying the team and basically saying that he wanted to keep the team in Buffalo, I don't think he's going to go back on his word. The whole thing's been coming up and going through, the media that the Bills need to build a new stadium or the NFL is going to try to pull them out of the city. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this thing with the stadium is going to kind of drag on for a while. You know, should we renovate? Should we leave it in Orchard Park? Should we build a new one? Where would we put it downtown Buffalo? There's not a lot of space. The Pegulas have already renovated a huge chunk of downtown, so I really don't think that they're going to, take up all that money and effort into putting in all these new buildings and these breweries and these restaurants and shopping strips and stuff like that just to pull them out and build a new stadium. So I wouldn't be worried that the Bills are going to move. I think that the NFL would be extremely foolish to allow the Pegulas or anybody else to move the Bills. I think they're going to be there for the long haul. That's just my opinion. You guys let me know. Drop it in the comments. I'm going to get through these comments because you guys are starting to zip them through pretty quick. Disc jockey, the team's moving. Nope, we just touched on that. Dunny Martin, Buffalo keep Gore and Shady. Well, as you guys can see, homage to Mr. Shady himself. I think they're going to keep them both. I don't think they would have brought Gore in for a one-year deal just to not – unless he comes into camp completely out of shape or he just doesn't look like he's the same Frank Gore, but I really don't think that is going to be the case. The guy's a workhorse. I think they brought him in to kind of give Shady another competitive edge. You know that Shady and Frank Gore are really close. They work out together in the offseason. They've known each other. They're both throughout their entire careers in the NFL, even before when they were both in college. They're extremely close. So I think that Brandon Beane just kind of brought in Frank Gore, not only because he was a huge fan, like he's admitted, of Frank Gore, but to kind of push Shady to the next level. I think that last year was kind of a one-off for Shady. The offensive line was really bad last year. I don't think there was a lot of running lanes. I think Shady was trying to do too much because he knew that there wasn't going to be holes open. So he was trying to make things happen before the plays could develop. And I do see a bounce back year for LeSean McCoy. Now, with that being said, I still think that Frank Gore is going to get his a heavy dose of carries, whether it be, in the second half, if we're trying to run down games and we're ahead, whether it be goal line situations, whether it be to give Shady a rest. I mean, LeSean McCoy does get injured. He has gotten injured, and he does have a history of having some nagging injuries. So it's nice to have Frank Gore on the squad, as well as Devin Singletary and TJ Yeldon. I do kind of want to talk about TJ Yeldon because a lot of stuff has been speculated here in the last week or so about his role on the team. I even posted something on the Facebook page saying, would any of you be surprised if TJ Yeldon's not on the team? Because when he was signed, before we drafted Devin Singletary, he was the only running back on contract through the 2020 season. Now, obviously, we signed Singletary to a 3 or 4 year deal anyways, but I feel like TJ Yeldon's going to make the squad. I feel like the Bills are going to carry 4 running backs. Maybe Sunrise Perry makes it as a special teamer. I'm still not sold on Patrick DeMarco. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't think that we need to carry a fullback. We have so many tight ends that are good in run blocking. Let me check some more comments. Again, I appreciate you guys. 24 of you guys in here. There's only 4 thumbs up. I need 24 thumbs up if there's 24 of you guys in here. Again, if you guys just got on, you guys know who I am. If you follow us on Facebook, I'm DM3. If you watch the videos I pop out here, I do that because of my love for the Buffalo Bills, and I do that because I want to share some of my insight with you guys. You may or may not agree with it. That's what being a fan of the Buffalo Bills is all about. Let's talk about our team and let's support it any way we can. Open up great conversations. That's why I do it. I do it all for you guys. Let's see what's going on. Kevin Garrard, you still making it to the home opener? Kevin Garrard, I will be at the home opener. I will be flying my happy self all the way from Sacramento, California, where I reside, to Buffalo, New York. I'm probably flying in the Friday before. Me and A. Rich, my brother from another mother and father, you guys know if you haven't heard his podcast, The Blueprint, he's killing it on there. We're going to be hanging out before the home opener, and then everybody's going to be there, I hope. I know that Pierre's going to be there. I know that Rico's going to be there. I'm going to be there. A. Rich is going to be there. Tiffany's going to be there. So you guys come and hang out. I'm sure you'll be able to find us. If not, we'll find you. There will be more to come about that. We're going to spread the word on all social media platforms. So I'm looking forward to I haven't been to a Bills game in about 7 years. The last time I went was when I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I went to a preseason game against the Panthers. So I'm looking forward to it. Let me check some more of you guys' comments. Let's see what else we got going on here. Brandon Zielinski, dude, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I'm terrible with last names. Based on the vast amount of receivers we have on the roster, which receivers do you think will stay on the team and who will be cut? Also, what role do you think Christian Wade will have on the team? I really don't think. Well, I'll touch on Christian Wade first. That's the last part of your question. I really don't think that Christian Wade. I don't think he's going to contribute all that much. You'll probably see him some in training camp preseason, but I don't see him making an impact on the roster. Now, as far as the receivers, and a lot of people have said I'm crazy for this, and I've gotten a lot of negative feedback on it, but it's cool. I have my belief that we're going to carry 7 receivers. I just have a feeling like there's too much talent, and they're going to see what they have to offer in all these guys. And I do think that Duke Williams is going to make the team. That's right. You heard it here. I think Duke Williams is going to make the final 53. Call me crazy. Call me what you want. But if you compare him to all of the rest of the receivers that are on the team, he stands out because he's a big body. We have, reception guys in Zay Jones and Cole Beasley. We have the deep threats in Robert Foster and John Brown. You even have a Swiss Army knife in Isaiah McKenzie. But Duke Williams is a big guy. He is the guy that they wanted in Kelvin Benjamin. And I think that he can be a viable asset on the team whether it be contested balls, whether it be red zone. I just think that he's going to show out in camp, and I think he's going to make this team. I think we're going to carry 7. I think we're going to carry Robert Foster, Zay Jones, John Brown, Cole Beasley. I think Isaiah McKenzie makes his way back onto the team. You have to keep who's our special? Andre Roberts for special teams, and he's a pretty decent receiver. If you guys ever watched any tape on him, he's a pretty decent receiver. And he's obviously going to be our special teams kick punt guy. And then I think it comes down between Duke Williams and David Sills the 5th. Honestly, those two guys I think are going to be fighting it out for a spot, because I think we're going to keep 4 running backs. And I don't think we're going to have as much on the defensive side that everybody thinks. We're going to have a nice rotation, but I still think there's room on this roster for 7 wide receivers. So let me know what you guys think of that. Drop it in the comments. Mr. Pierre the Kingpin has graced us with his presence. He's going to be at the home opener. We're going to be kicking it, like I said. Disc Jockey Nini, how many games do you think we're winning? I'm going to have a video coming out, so I don't want to spoil it. I'm going to have a video out, and I'm going to break down the entire schedule quickly. Not some of these videos you see, they're 45 minutes, but I do think that the Bills will win 10 games. I'm not going to tell you which 10 games, but I think the Bills will win 10 games. I think we go 10-6, and I think we sneak into the playoffs. I shouldn't say sneak, but we'll probably get a wild card and not have to Andy Dalton it, not have to backdoor it in, not have to crawl, sneak, do whatever we got to do to get in this time. Mr. Pierre Gabar, thank you, sir, for the donation, my man. Daniel Gauer says, I think 6 wide receivers, 1 or 2 on the practice squad. That's true, but I think that if we put Duke Williams or David Stills on the practice squad, I think they'll get nabbed up. I think they'll be gone, because if you guys have seen anything about Brandon Beane, immediately when the 7th round of the draft hit, Brandon Beane already had his team ready to make undrafted free agent phone calls. Give me the list. Who's available? So I know that David Sills got calls from other teams, and I know that Duke Williams will be extremely interesting for some other teams. Plus, you got to remember, once we get through training camp, obviously it's the first day of July. We don't know what's going to happen as far as injuries and things like that, but you have to remember there's going to be training camp casualties for salaries for teams. There's going to be training camp casualties for injuries. So there's going to be guys that are going to be looking on other teams' practice squads. And I think that Duke Williams and David Sills are going to be extremely intriguing, Let's see. 24, what 24? Pat Samini, what's going on, dude? These wide receivers are overhyped. We have no number 1, maybe 2 number 2s, and some number 3s. I'm glad you brought that up, because I had a discussion about this offline with one of my Buffalo buddies, really good friend of mine. Do we need to have a number 1? Do we need to have a true number 1? Or do we need to have multiple options? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that if John Brown left, if Cole Beasley left, if Robert Foster left, if Zay Jones left, on and on down the line, if they left and went to another team, that they'd be number 1s on any other team. But they do play parts that are going to be significant in this offense. If the Bills are going to run an offense like that's everything that's been preached about with this Dable open up the playbook, have the most alignment that anybody's seen in the NFL, because we did it last year with not as good moving parts. Dable had formations that were off the charts last year. Now we have the parts to do it, and I don't think we need to have a number 1. If we have 4 guys or 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever it is that all serve a purpose, you have John Brown and you have Robert Foster on the outside. You have Cole Beasley and you have Zay Jones in the slot working intermediate routes. You got a slew of tight ends. Josh Allen now has multiple options. He doesn't have to try to force feed Kelvin Benjamin. He doesn't have to wait for Zay Jones to get open. He doesn't have to wait until game 10 or 11 for Robert Foster to come along to start chucking bombs, right? He's got everything that he needs. So would you rather have one guy that is all world, that is he's gonna warrant your opposing team's best cornerback every single play, or would you like to have a whole bunch of moving parts that one of them is going to be open? One of them is going to be open. You don't think Dawson Knox is a nightmare, as a matchup nightmare for a linebacker? The guy's 4.7 speed for a guy that's that big. So all these parts that the Bills are going to have on offense, I think it's just going to be a matchup nightmare. Now, again, execution, Josh Allen is the key by far. Josh Allen needs to get through his reads. Josh Allen needs to not have happy feet in the pocket, and Josh Allen needs to get through his progression, throw some anticipated passes, and make it work. We get that. So I don't think I'm overhyping him. I think that we just have a lot of options. We haven't had this many options in a while. Definitely have a lot more options than we've had in the last 2 seasons, so that's something to really look forward to. Let's see. Brendan Zielinski, Dawson Knox or Sweeney as tight end 1. I think Dawson Knox is going to be tight end 1. Unfortunately, injuries happen, and Tyler Kroft broke his foot, same foot that he broke previously. And, sometimes that's how guys take advantage of the situation. Dawson Knox, I think, is an extremely good run blocker. I think Dawson Knox is a nightmare matchup for a linebacker, like I said. He's going to oversize any cornerback or safety. So, and he can spread the field. He can run the intermediate routes. And, everybody wants to talk about the fact that he didn't score any touchdowns in college, but look at the team that he was on. He had DK on his team. He had they were just loaded at Ole Miss, and the quarterback play wasn't that good. So, I think that the guy I think that he's honestly going to be our number 1 tight end, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Kroom doesn't make the team. I think, the veterans that we've brought in, I think that Jason Kroom is just going to be the odd man out as far as you look at skill sets. He's coming along. He was a former wide receiver. He's coming along, but I think that Dawson Knox is going to be tight end 1. And Tyler Kroft is on a very team-friendly contract. So maybe he gets some playing time, but not a ton. His salary is based off of playing time. So the less he plays because of his injury or production, the less we have to pay him. So he may be a casualty mid-season or in the offseason. So something to keep an eye on. Again, 29 of you guys in here. Thank you for joining me on your Monday night. This is my first one. I wanted to get my feet wet. Like I said earlier, I love cranking out videos. It's a whole different beast when you're live because everybody's asking you questions and watching what you're doing. But I want to get my feet wet. I'm going to probably come back on Friday night, and I want to just get used to doing this. Try to team up, maybe with Rico on occasion. The ref, what's up, dude? Thank you for the $2 donation. The new turf we got looks so crispy, I could eat it. If you guys haven't bought turf, what are you waiting for? Go to the Buffalo Turf Company. They have an Instagram page. They have a website. I bought a chunk of turf early this morning, about 2 o'clock this morning. It's $30. You get a little square, but it's cool. It's part of the Ralph/New Era. So that's something cool. You guys check that out. If you go on our Instagram page, I think Bobby posted. And by the way, if you haven't been on our Instagram page, it is the best. And I'm not just, being a homer here. It is the best Instagram page for Bills content. If you guys like up-to-date news, if you guys like awesome images, if you guys like stats, if you guys like videos, anything you want, Buffalo Bills, it's on there. Bobby does a great job. But what I'm saying is Bobby has a post on there. Go to the homepage for the Buffalo Fanatics on Instagram. There's a link to go to get you some turf and buy you a piece of the Ralph. You can hang on to that forever. Kathy Barnaby, I want the middle of the field to be used more. Moving the chains is what I want. Long bomb is great, but my favorite play is up the middle, catch and run, take it to the end. Yeah, so if you guys, that's awesome comment, Kathy, because I think you'll see a lot more intermediate stuff because we have some guys that can get some separation and we have some guys that have some nice breakaway speed. There's not a lot of NFL teams that can say that they have 4 or 5 guys that run the 40 time as fast as the Bills do. Perfect example, the Oakland Raiders, when they got Amari Cooper, if you look at a lot of Amari Cooper's big plays, it was run after the catch. And I think that the last couple seasons, the Bills had a receiver that gets the yak, that gets those over the middle, the old school Andre the Reed, post plays. You just hit them over the middle, slant plays. You hit them over the middle and then let them do work. And we have the athletes this year that I believe can get the separation and get the plays down the field. So great comment, Kathy. As always, thank you for joining in. I know you watch all Rico's videos, so I appreciate you jumping on one of mine. Dan Rice, I like those odds. John Roberts, congrats on the turf. How much is it? So there's a couple different options. You guys can get a green one. It's a little square. There's a green one, there's a red one, and I believe there's a blue one. The blue one's $50, I believe. You don't quote me because they may have changed prices up or down. But the base price is $30. So not much, and they overnight it to you, and it's not that expensive to have it shipped to you. So check it out. Let's see. Jeff Yin Yang, bro, DM3, you right? Thank you, my man. Do you think the Bills are contenders this year? Yeah, like I stated earlier, if you missed it earlier, I think the Bills are going to go 10-6. And I think that if you guys watch any NFL Network, if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, you guys have seen when the preseason or when the offseason first started and the Bills started to make some additions to the team, there were still some skeptics that were saying, okay, so they added Cole Beasley and Brown and Mitch Morse, but I still don't think that Josh Allen's going to take the next step. And then the draft came, and we got Ed Oliver and Cody Ford, and we added Devin Singletary and Dawson Knox, and all this stuff started. You're starting to see a shift. And now I'm not big on media hype because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. I bleed red, white, and blue. I've been a Buffalo Bills fan since 1985. I've lived through heartbreak. I've lived through wide right. I've lived through the Music City Miracle. I've been through all that. So at the end of the day, I'm always ready and always pumped up. Like, yeah, this is the year. Yeah, this is the year. But back to like the media, you're slowly starting to see a shift, and people are starting to pay attention to Josh Allen and a lot of the good things that he did last year. Yeah, we all know he ran a lot, and yeah, we all know his completion percentage isn't that great. But Josh Allen is also extremely smart. Josh Allen also knows that he didn't have time because his line was breaking down. He also knew that he didn't have a ton of playmakers as wide receivers until Robert Foster emerged, until Zay Jones started to progress and get more separation and things like that. So you're starting to see more of these analysts break down Josh Allen film and how smart he is at the line. And what I'm excited for is the fact that going into year 2 for him, he knows he's the starter. He has a veteran backup quarterback this time. That's not Nate Peterman. That's not A.J. McCarron. So he's got a guy in Matt Barkley who's been around the league. He's been in different offenses. He's been on different systems. So he's got some momentum. He built momentum heading into the end of the season. Did he win every game? No, but he played consistent throughout most of his last 7 or 8 games. So I think that analysts are starting to realize, okay, well, Josh Allen might not be that project that everybody thinks that he is. Now they've upgraded the offensive line. They brought in tight ends. They brought in wide receivers. They got 4 or 5 running backs, depending on who's going to stay. So I'm extremely optimistic. As a football fan, I took a couple steps back after the draft and I looked at Cody Ford. I looked at Ed Oliver because the hype around Ed Oliver is real. By the way, if you haven't watched tape on Ed Oliver, watch his combine and his pro day on YouTube. It's crazy. The guy is a physical freak. He is very, very Aaron Donald-like. But what I was saying is some of the experts are starting to say, okay, this Bills team might be a playoff team. They might be a 10-6 team. So I thought going into the draft that we were a 10-6 team. Now I definitely think we're a 10-6 team. And like I said, I'm going to have a video. I'm not just trying to pub my own stuff, but I'm going to have a video coming out that's going to I'm going to break down the schedule and kind of go over everything. So excellent question, my man. Brandon Zielinski, what are the odds Ed Oliver will win Defensive Rookie of the Year? Hey, I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to sound like too much of a homer, but I think the odds are pretty good. Quinnen Williams, who's in our division, is also a freak in nature. The man ran a 4.8 40 at that size, over 300 pounds. So that man's a freak in nature. The one thing I don't like about Quinnen Williams is that he had really one really good year in college, and the rest was pretty average. Now, that 1 year got him the 3rd overall pick. You got Nick Bosa in there. You got a slew of other guys in there. As long as he stays healthy, cross my fingers, as long as he stays healthy, I think he's got a shot, sure. I also think that he's going to earn more reps as preseason and the season, progresses. So I think he's got a really good shot for sure. Ronald Enix, I'm at the hospital for now. I had a stroke. I'm hoping to be out in a day. Oh, good luck, man. I'm sorry to hear that, Ronald. Thoughts are with you, brother. Dan Rice, yep, praying for you, man. John Roberts, I think playoffs is guaranteed if they play well. I mean, a 10-6 team isn't too far off of the 6-10 team that we had last year. Hear me out. There was a couple games that I thought we could have won. The Houston Texans game, I think we could have won. The Miami Dolphins game where Charles Clay dropped that pass. Why does everybody want to throw Josh Allen under the bus and say, why didn't he put more arm strength into it? The man ran 65 yards behind the line of scrimmage and gave the Bills a chance. Charles Clay just stood there and watched it fall. So I think they could have won that game. I think that if we didn't have Nate Peterman start the first game, I think that maybe we could have been more competitive against the Ravens. The Chargers game, when you can tell in the second half when Sean McDermott, I believe, started calling plays, Leslie Frazier, I'm talking to you. I think that Sean McDermott started calling plays in the second half of the Chargers game. That game was completely different. You look at the Packers game. That game wasn't as far off as the score showed. So I think nothing. Brady did shit that entire game. So, what ifs, shoulda, coulda, woulda, whatever. I'm not big on those. But that's only 4 more wins than we had last year. So we got to take care of business, and I think the Bills can make it into the playoffs. The ref, $2 deposit or $2 donation. Man, I appreciate you. Much love. Like I said, if you guys haven't become sponsored members, what that gets you is when you guys comment, we see those because they're highlighted for us. You guys don't see them that way. We see them highlighted, so it kind of draws our attention to them. So you guys get kind of preferential treatment. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check out the link in the description once my video's over. 40 of you guys in here, I appreciate it. Give me some more thumbs up. I only got 16 thumbs up in here. Again, my first one, I'm getting my feet wet. My recording studio, if you guys watch my videos, this isn't my normal digs. My recording studio is under construction. Going to come back bigger and stronger. John Roberts, I'm from California. I live in Seattle now. Cool, dude. I'm in Sacramento, so you're not too far away. Daniel Galries, I hope I said your name right. The drop was 100% on Clay. I agree. Bills Mafia Man 55. Who will have more rushing yards, Allen, McCoy, Singletary, or Gore? Shady. I think, and I'm not because I'm wearing this, but I think that last season was a one-off. I think there was a lot going on. I don't want to give excuses to the man. I was a huge Shady supporter when the Bills got him. I loved him coming out of Pittsburgh. I thought that he was entertaining as hell to watch. The moves that he has and the quickness he has in space, personally, I think is second to none in the NFL. Some of the stuff that he does, I mean, he's cut on dime for a reason, but off-season issues last year. He had all the domestic crap going on. If he did it or not, I do care, but it had to distract him. It had to be a distraction, constantly answering questions in the media, probably from teammates, probably from coaches. Everybody at One Bills Drive was probably asking him what the hell was going on. Top of the fact that the rotation on the Bills offensive line was just absolute hot garbage last year. I think that this season he'll be rejuvenated, revigorated, playing with one of his oldest friends in Frank Gore. Frank Gore is going to push him because Frank Gore is the type of guy that has demeanor that is going to pick you up if your head's down. He's going to make you strive to be the best, and I think these two are going to feed off each other. And I think Frank Gore is at a part in his career where he's okay watching somebody else succeed and just being a part of it. Now, I mean, I'm sure Frank Gore was also brought in to mentor these guys in the locker room. You got the TJ Yeldons and Devin Singletaries. Also be a mentor somewhat to Shady, these other young guys, because the team is getting really young really fast. He's great in the community. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So why not bring in a guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame and say, hey, I want you guys to learn from this guy. Watch how he watches film. Ask him questions. Watch how he prepares. Watch how he handles his off season. So I think Shady's going to feed off that. I can honestly say he's going to get 1,000 yards this season. Now that could be based off of the Bills if they go run heavy, if the Bills want to open up the wide receiving, as far as like 4 wides. It depends on how Daboll's going to call the offense. So I still do think Sean McDermott's a little bit conservative. He's going to pull the reins in on Brian Daboll. So we'll see, but I think Shady will have a really solid season. Yusef, I'm not going to try your last name. Tufix, I agree, 10-6. Kathy Barnaby, was he not from Philly? Are we talking about Shady? Yeah, but Shady went to college in Pittsburgh. Yeah, he played for the Eagles. I watched him back in college when he was with Pittsburgh. Green Buffalo, what's going on? John Roberts, is Devin Singletary going to complement the run game? Could we see a monster of a rotation? I hope so. I think that would be a nightmare if you're an opposing defense and then one play you got, LeSean McCoy and Frank Gore in the backfield. Well, who's blocking and who's actually toting the rock? Then you got TJ Yeldon back there, with Frank Gore, and then TJ Yeldon splits out as receiver. As we all know, Frank Gore is really good in pass blocking. TJ Yeldon's a beast in pass blocking. So I think if Singletary's, gets through camp healthy, the guy's a workhorse. The guy just doesn't get tackled. If you guys watch any of his film at Florida Atlantic, he just doesn't go down. He's like a pinball. He did get a lot of carries in college, so that concerns me a little bit about longevity and sustainability. But Brandon Beane came out and said, you know what? I've been asked the question. This guy's been hit a lot. He's gotten a lot of carries. There's some games where he had 40 carries in a game, but he's durable and he's ready to go. So I can see us towards the end of the season, depending on how the season's playing out. I can see games where, maybe Shady's banged up or Frank Gore's banged up because these guys are older, the AARP backfield that the Bills have. But I think you can see Devin Singletary as the season progresses. I think he'll start to get more and more carries, depending on consistency. Obviously, I'm really looking forward to preseason this year. For the first time in a long time, I'm really looking forward to preseason because we get to see Ed Oliver. We get to see Cody Ford. We get to see Devin Singletary, Josh Allen behind Mitch Morrison at center, all the new offensive line. How are these guys all going to line up and how's it going to work? Preseason's actually going to be really fun this year. So let me know what you guys think. Devin Singletary, I think he's going to be a contributing factor towards maybe the middle of the end of the season. I think you're going to see a little bit more consistency going that way. All right, Brandon the Mando. I love that you brought this up. I wasn't going to touch it, but you touched it, so I want to touch on it. Are the AJ Green rumors legit? Look, there's been rumors about the Bills trying to trade for AJ Green since Doug Whaley was our GM. There's been rumors about AJ Green being on the trade market in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. I don't think personally it would be smart for the Cincinnati Bengals to trade AJ Green. 31 years old, still in the prime of his career. They don't have anything else besides AJ Green on offense. Andy Dalton, I don't think is going to be there much longer if he lasts the whole season at starter. You got Joe Mixon. You got a nice young running back. But after that, you got some younger parts. And unless you get a really big haul in return, that's not going to happen. And with the slew of receivers the Bills brought in via free agency and undrafted free agents, I think they're just fine. I'm not sure where these rumors come from. I don't believe them personally. I even posted something on the Facebook story that said, can we just be done with these AJ Green rumors? Every year it's like clockwork. Bills are rumored to trade Robert Foster and Wyatt Teller for AJ Green. I really don't think that's going to happen. So don't be surprised if nothing comes from it. Don't get your hopes up. If it does happen, I will come on here and say that I was wrong, but I have only heard it a couple places and they're not reliable sources. So you guys can read into that what you want. So we're hitting about the 34-minute mark. 27 of you guys still hanging with me. I love it. Appreciate it. Victor Habili says AARP, laugh my ass off. Brandon the Mando, Oliver's ratings in Madden are nice. Yeah, Oliver rated overall 79. So if there's any Madden heads out there, you guys check out our Twitch channel. Big Mike's on there killing it. The link's in the description. I'm sure he'll be playing Madden once Madden's released. He's on there killing Fortnite right now. Let's see. Enjoy the vids, bro. Thank you, my man. All right. So anybody else, anything else you guys want to talk about? I mean, I'll hang out for a little bit longer. You guys pop questions in there. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys thought that this was cool, like I said, I didn't really have a script for this one. I just want to kind of feed off of what you guys were dropping in the comments just to kind of get used to coming live. I do lives on Facebook, but this is different. We're trying to get this YouTube channel to be a beast, which it's going to be. So just, stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, that little subscribe button right there, just click that. There's a notification bell right there. Hit the thumbs up. You guys can share this. That way you get notified when we have live videos, when one of my pre-recorded videos jumps on here, when Rico goes live, Kingpin, all that cool stuff. So, all right, Brandon the Mando. Sorry, shameless plug on my mug right there. All right, Brandon the Mando. Love that topic. Brandon the Mando says Levi or Kevin. So if you guys have been following, OTAs, rookie minicamp, training camp, all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, apparently Kevin Johnson, the former number 1 first-round draft pick of the Houston Texans, who's had concussion issues and some other things, was cut by the team. Bills grabbed him early in free agency, has looked really good. Now, there's a caveat to that. He's been looking really good with the second unit. So he's gotten some first-team reps, but not a ton. He's looked good with the second unit, which is still good. It's inspiring, right? It's still, he's been making some interceptions. He's been really well in coverage. Levi Wallace is Levi Wallace. I still think he's the most underrated cornerback in the NFL. You didn't hear his name a lot in games, but that's good, right? I mean, that's good. That's what we want. We don't want to hear your cornerback just got burnt over the top for a 60-yard pass. We don't want to hear that, Levi Wallace is making another tackle because he just gave up another reception. We don't want to hear all that stuff. So Levi Wallace, undrafted free agent last season, I think surprised everybody. Not a ton of people paid attention to him. We were always worried about where's Trey White? What's Trey White doing? I do think that bringing in EJ Gaines was nice. Adds some depth in competition because, as you guys all know, EJ Gaines tends to have injury issues. He was injured the season with the Bills. He was injured last year with the Browns. The Bills brought him back. I think he was brought back in to kind of inspire these young bucks to kind of get after it. Don't forget Teron Johnson, who I think will lock down the nickel corner spot. But it's going to be really nice. And I want to sound too corny, too cliche, but let me know. You guys let me know right now in the comments when you were this motivated to watch positional battles going into training camp and preseason. There's depth at every position. There's depth at offensive line. There's depth at defensive line. There's depth at cornerback. There's depth at wide receiver. I mean, safeties, what have you. We have depth everywhere. So I think it's going to be really interesting to watch. But to answer your question, I do think Levi Wallace is our number 2 corner heading in once we get to opening day against the New York Jets. All right, let's see. Brandon the Mano. Good question, man. I appreciate that. J. Robin Hood. I'm getting kicked out. Need prayer, y'all. Not sure what that means. Will Knox become tight end 1 like a Greg Olsen? That's a really good question because offline and in our group chat, we've always in the Buffalo Fanatics group chat, we got A. Rich and Rico and Pierre and Bobby and all those guys. We often think that sometimes that Brandon Beane tries to model the Buffalo Bills after the Carolina Panthers. I mean, that's when you work at a job for so long in one place, when you move on to another job, you pick up things that worked well for you at your previous job and kind of try to reinvent them in your new job, right? So Brandon Beane comes over as general manager, and I thought for a while that they were trying to get a tight end that was similar to Greg Olsen, safety blanket, reliable hands, really good blocker. But I don't know if any of the tight ends we have on the team now are going to be Greg Olsen-like. I mean, Greg Olsen's a one-off. He's an extremely, reliable receiver. Here lately, he's had some injury problems, but he's getting a little bit older. But when he was with the Bears and with the Panthers, I mean, the guy's been extreme. It's Cam Newton's number one target since Steve Smith left. So to answer your question, I think it's too premature to actually wonder if any of these tight ends can be as good as Greg Olsen. Do we want them to be? Of course, but I don't know. There's a lot of variables. I don't know how, without seeing one full year of Brian Daboll's offense with skilled position players, if we value the tight end to the respect of how the Panthers utilized and how they see the role of Greg Olsen. If that makes sense. Like, I don't know if Josh Allen wants a tight end as a safety blanket, or if he wants to use a tight end in just certain packages. So that's something we're going to have to see. Again, no games have been played. Can't take much from training camp and OTAs and things like that and mandatory camp, because they do a lot of drills where there's not a lot of defenses being played. A lot of vanilla stuff is happening. So sorry, to answer your question, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but to answer your question, I do think that one of these tight ends is going to step up and say, I'm the guy. I want to be tight end one. Get me the ball. We're going to have to see how Daboll's offense uses the tight end. But until we can see that, we're just going to have to guess at this point. All right, Levi Wallace, number prime, undrafted free agent by Bean. Danny Gowries. Yeah, Brandon Bean can find some undrafted free agents. That's why I do think that the battle between Sills and Duke Williams, I think, is going to come down to like the very last minute. I really do. And I think one of them is making the squad, and I think it's going to be Duke Williams. Let me scroll back up because you guys are starting to hammer through some comments now. All right. Josh Allen, 3,500 passing yards, 800 rushing yards, 14 interceptions, 25 touchdowns, 12 rushing. John Roberts, that's a good fantasy number, but I don't know if we want Josh Allen getting 800 rushing yards, because that's two things. Either he hasn't progressed enough to stay in the pocket more and be more aware of his progressions and his reads, or our offensive line hasn't improved, or our running backs just aren't getting the job done. So I can say maybe 400 rushing yards and maybe 5 to 6 touchdowns, but I do think he'll hit 4,000 yards passing. I really do. I think we have guys on this roster that are going to get open, and I do think 4,000 yards. David Sills doing good. Haven't heard much. Yeah, David Sills, early on in camp, we heard a good bit from the rookie mini camp. We heard a lot of good things. I haven't heard much about a lot of the wide receivers late in camp. Obviously, other than Cole Beasley, because he's continuously taking shots at the Dallas Cowboys, which, as a Buffalo Bills fan, if you like shit talking, smack talking, telling other people to shut the hell up, then you love Cole Beasley. If you don't follow him on Twitter or on Instagram, you need to, because the dude is Buffalo through and through. It's just even better that he hates the Cowboys now. If you want to call him a crybaby because he's bitching and complaining about some things that were said and done in the past, so be it. But yeah, it's been quiet on the wide receiver front. A couple snippets about David Sills here. He is a big body. He's quick. He's got really good hands, which is what Josh Allen has commented on, that between him, Cole Beasley, and John Brown, they all have really good hands, and they're catching everything that he's throwing. So other than that, don't worry. Training camp's coming. It's going to start here pretty soon. You'll start seeing stuff from us all over social media. We're going to be plastering it with videos, highlights, pictures, news, info, and we'll keep you guys all up to date on all that stuff. But David Sills, just looking at his college resume, scored the most touchdowns as a wide receiver in 2018. So you can't ignore that. You just can't ignore that. Why he didn't get drafted, I have no idea. You think someone would have taken a flyer on him in the 7th round. I mean, the Bills drafted Tommy Sweeney in the 7th round. They took a flyer on that guy. So, you never know. Daniel Gowries, this year, Bills will have the best depth in decades, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we hope every position, and pardon me, guys, there's freaking flying here. But every position we hope is going to live up to this depth that we've been talking about for months now. The 90-man roster is, I don't want to say stacked, but the 90-man roster is loaded with talent. Okay, I will say that. The 90-man roster has options at every position. I think we're a little thin at linebacker, but I think we'll be all right there because I think we have other things to work on the defensive seven. That's gonna be okay. But secondary is loaded. Cornerbacks are loaded. The offensive line, we hope, is loaded. I mean, the additions we made, Frazier calls a different style offense to be the number 2 overall, as opposed to that defense back in 2013, 2014 that was getting upwards above 50 and 53, 55 sacks a season. You know, when we had Mario Williams and Jerry Hughes and Kyle Williams, and we were just terrorizing quarterbacks. So it's going to be really nice. Like I said earlier in the video, camp is going to be fun. Preseason is going to be fun because we're going to watch every single one of these positions, and it's going to be, you know, it's going to be some of these guys that are going to be released or cut or put on practice squad are guys that we thought might have been able to make the team. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. So John Roberts, I don't want to get 800. Let's see. Iceman. What's going on, dude? Enix Dawson Knox stands a very good chance being our number 1 tight end. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Beasley has his own record label. Yeah, you guys haven't listened to Beasley's rap record. It's pretty good, actually. I mean, it's not too bad for a wide receiver. Brandon the Man cannot freaking wait until Cole goes against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Yeah, Thanksgiving is going to be an amazing, amazing game. I mean, first off, it's Thanksgiving. You know, it was kind of hard for me to digest Thanksgiving because I don't know about you guys, but I like to watch football and not have to worry about having family over and showing my Buffalo Bills fan self during games because it was always the Cowboys and the Giants or other people. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. Cole Beasley's going up against the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, 2 really good defenses. Who has the best linebacking core? So it's going to be really fun. Cut predictions. I'm going to make a video on that. And plus I'm hitting about the 50-minute mark. I'm going to do an offense and defense for the final 53. It's going to take me way too long to get through them because I'm going to be extremely long-winded. I do apologize for that. But Brandon the Mando, stay tuned for that. I'm going to be back on Friday too, and I might even go over that on Friday. I might do offense or defense just live for you guys and lay it all out on there and see what you guys think. Get your takes on what you guys like. Other than that, if you guys don't have anything else for me, again, subscribe. Hit the notification bell, drop some comments. I appreciate everybody that was in here. I went for 48 minutes on my first live on the YouTube channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for the support. Everybody that donated, appreciate it. All the donations go into the Buffalo Fanatics so we can get more and more in-depth with you guys, bring you more features and things like that. All the subscriptions for all of social media is down below. Again, I'm DM3. I'm signing off. Thank you guys. Love it. And go Bills.